Hey Harmony House, welcome to another edition of Chapter Book Story Time. So today we are on Chapter 4 of The Magic Misfits 2, the second story. So far we learned about Layla's past, we learned about her time in the orphanage, we learned that it wasn't an easy time for her, but it inspired her to get into magic and to become an escape artist and to stay strong and continue to shine her kindness and her love no matter what. And then we fast forwarded back to where we currently are in the story, where Carter has just moved in with the Vernons and Layla because he discovered that Mr. Dante Vernon was his dad's cousin. So that's actually his family. So now he's living with them. And then in the middle of the night, there was a racket. There was a loud sound. And Layla and Carter jumped up to find Mr. Dante Vernon struggling with a monkey. So they found out that it was BB Bazzo's old monkey. And so that kind of made them suspicious. They're thinking, did BB Bazzo get out of jail? Like, is he sending his monkey to come steal Mr. Vernon's notebook? But they confirmed that Bazzo is still in jail, and so they were kind of wondering, is someone using this monkey to try to steal secrets from Mr. Vernon, or was this poor monkey just hungry? They're not sure, but the monkey escaped. They did get the notebook back, however. And that is where we left off. So, time for chapter 4. Here we go. Pick a card, any card, Carter said, fanning out a deck. Ridley Larson raised an eyebrow and tilted her head with a withering stare. Before we start sharing tricks, we should officially call Magic Misfits meeting number 11 to order. If you say so, boss, Carter said with a grin. He split the deck into 5 small packs, then spiraled them around one another in a single grand gesture before flipping his palms over and revealing empty hands. Sometimes it seemed to Layla... Oh, come on, Noodles. Lay down. Sometimes it seemed to Layla Carter would have made even the gazebo in the town green vanish with little more than a flick of his wrist. Boss? Asked Izzy Golden. I think of Ridley more as a queen. Queen is too generic, said Ollie Golden. Empress has a nice ring to it. Your ears'll ring when I give you a sock to 'em, Izzy said, waving her fist in the air playfully at her twin. Rings and socks? But I'm already fully dressed, Ollie noted. Summer break had started, and Main Street was flooded with shoppers who were down from the resort and kids tasting the freedom of a school-free sunny afternoon. At almost every corner, food vendors handed out samples of their wares. Ice cream, chocolates, caramel corn, fruit-flavored ice slushies. But the Magic Misfits had no sense of what was happening outdoors. With all 6 of them crowded into the secret room behind the rear bookcase in Vernon's magic shop, they were practically bumping elbows in the dim light. None minded, though. They were practicing what they loved most, magic. Ridley reached inside Carter's sleeve and removed the deck of cards he'd hidden there. Hey, no fair, Carter cried out. Stealing is not cool, Ridley. Stealing? Stone-faced, Ridley flipped through the cards and held them out to the group. The playing cards had somehow transformed into a handful of purple note cards, each marked with dots and dashes in black ink. I brought these Morse code study cards from home. Your playing cards are right where you left them, Carter. Crinkling his brow, Carter raised his sleeve to find his deck of playing cards right where she'd said they'd be. Not only was Ridley an expert with transformations, she was also skilled at transforming the color of people's cheeks. In fact, Carter's pale skin had instantly become a fierce pink. Nicely done, said Theo Steinmeier. Thank you, Ridley said. Would you mind passing these out? Theo guided his bow over the study cards, and one by one, they floated to the members of the Misfits. Theo's levitation ability was one of his most closely guarded secrets. When he finished, he slipped his magic bow back inside the leg of his tuxedo pants. I hope everyone has been studying this week, Ridley went on. The sooner we learn this Morse code stuff, the better we'll be prepared to communicate secretly. Oh, Ridley, said Layla. I don't think we need to worry about another situation like the one with Bozo. And yet, only a few nights ago, his pet monkey tried to break into Mr. Vernon's office to steal one of his ledgers. Ridley squinted at them. Are you sure you're not just inventing excuses to get out of doing your club homework? I thought summer was supposed to be homework free, said Izzy. No, Izzy, said Ollie. You're thinking of sugar free. But we love sugar, said Izzy. Mom and Dad hate it, though. Strange, because I always feel funnier after I eat sweets. Layla smiled from the back corner of the far wall. She used to hate small spaces, but now she didn't mind them so much. Blocked by Ridley's wheelchair, she mentally worked out a path through her friends and would allow her to escape the crowded room in less than 5 seconds. She was always solving puzzles in her head as if she might one day use them on a stage. Layla, would you like to go first? Ridley asked. Layla glanced at her note card. The code read, ... dash dash. Layla figured out the translation in her head. If you work together, Carter read his secret message, and stay true to one another. Theo went next. Nothing will bar you. Then Ridley. Alone you are weak. Followed by Ollie and then Izzy. Together you are... They struggled over the final word until Izzy finished. Together you are strange? Almost, said Ridley, raising an eyebrow. Together you are strong. Nice, Carter said to Ridley. It's the message from the psychic at the carnival. I'm happy you remembered it. All right, so they're practicing something called Morse code. So all those ... dash that I read, Morse code is a code that basically uses dots and dashes. I don't know as much about it, but it's basically just like a code, just like another language, basically. So they're practicing this code or this other language so that they can send messages to each other that other people can't read so easily. So they're trying to learn Morse code. Just outside their secret headquarters, Mr. Vernon finished ringing up his customers. After they left, Mr. Vernon knocked on the wall and called out, "You do realize it's a beautifully perfect day outside. Some people believe it's a crime to be indoors on a day like this." Layla perked up. The escape route she'd been scheming suddenly came into sharp focus. She ducked down, shimmied beneath the chair Theo was perched upon, then popped up, leaping over Ridley's wheelchair and rebounding off the wall behind Carter, before turning sideways, taking a deep breath and squeezing between Ollie and Izzy. She slid open the secret door and caught Vernon's eye. "And would you consider yourself to be one of those people, Dad?" "Of course not, my dear." Mr. Vernon winked, and then rubbed at his eye as if a speck of dust had suddenly gotten stuck. "I was only commenting on the crime rate in this country. Practically soaring." "Practically soaring," echoed Presto, the store's prized green parrot. The beautiful bird held court from her perch near the store's entrance. Mr. Vernon cooed at her, holding up his hand for the parrot to nuzzle briefly. He whispered something into her ear, then climbed the spiral stairs to the store's balcony. "Whack?" Presto answered with a curious blink and a nod before going strangely silent. "Layla, I know your Magic Club meeting has begun, but would you and Carter please keep an eye on the store for a moment?" asked Mr. Vernon. "I think my bottle of vanishing ink has actually vanished." "Of course it did," Layla giggled. "And of course we will." She turned to Carter, Theo, Ridley, Ollie, and Izzy, and then waved them out of the secret room. "Boo!" said Ridley, rolling her chair into the store. I like it better when our meetings are in there. In the dark, it's more magical. More magical than when we are in an actual magic shop? Asks Theo. Ollie and Izzy grabbed hands and twirled into the space, then pretended to be dizzy and fell down. Layla slid the bookcase door shut as Theo held his magic violin bow over Ridley's head. Her notebook levitated out of her lap and floated just beyond her reach. Give that back, Ridley snarled, grabbing Theo by his tuxedo tail. Easy, Tiger, Carter said, snatching the notebook from the air and returning it to Ridley. Play nice. What are you doing? What are you doing? Noodles is excited. She wants to play. Ridley thumped Theo's bow tie, changing it from a solid black into a garish mustard plaid. Theo flinched as he glanced at himself in the giant mirror nearby, then adjusted the lapels of his tuxedo jacket. He always looked like he was on his way to a grand party. I suppose I can make these colors work too, he said to himself, then winked at Ridley. She winked back. Since we've gotten our homework out of the way, said Layla, let's start the actual meeting. Hey, that's my line, Ridley quipped. Let us bring this meeting of the Magic Misfits to order, she said, elevating her voice to sound like the mayor during a celebratory speech out on the town green. Hear, hear, said Theo. You forgot to do roll call, said Carter. Fine, Ridley groaned. We'll continue with roll call. She read out everyone's names, and they all raised their hands. She spent the next few seconds writing down everything she'd just said in her notebook. Let me do that, said Carter. Ridley reluctantly handed over the notebook and pen. Who has a club announcement? She asked. Well, we already told you guys about the monkey break-in, said Layla. That's all my big news. Ridley barreled onward. Anything else we should note? When the group said nothing, she said, the Magic Misfits keep no secrets, remember? I'm totally secret-free, said Carter. Layla thought of her tin filled with keys upstairs, the one no one knew about except for her. Nope, she said. No secrets here. I think some secrets are worth keeping, said Theo, his voice cool and collected. I certainly do not intend to give my tricks away within the near future. And that is the end of... Isn't that? Oh, weird. It skips a few pages. There's a few blank pages. I'm not sure what that's about, but let's skip ahead. All right. Before Ridley could scold her friend, the door to the shop opened, and the little bell rang. Layla leaned around the end of the aisle and saw a couple standing there. The man and woman looked like a pair of tourists down from the Grand Oak Resort. Since Mr. Vernon was still upstairs searching for his vanishing ink, Layla raced over and said, Welcome to Vernon's Magic Shop, where we purvey the impossible. Can I help you find anything? With a wink, she added, or perhaps help you make something disappear. Presto rustled her feathers from her perch. Shall Houdini confess next? I find a dozen flying fake deer, she screeched. Shall Houdini confess next? I can find a dozen flying fake deer. Don't mind our bird, Layla smiled at the customers, who looked indifferent. The parrot's mishmash of words reminded Layla of poetry. Well, really weird poetry. This wasn't the first time Presto had sprouted out such strange things. Carter appeared next to the customers. Feel free to look around. Layla couldn't help but feel happy that Carter was fitting in so quickly. The couple walked with caution toward a table displaying glass eyeballs stuffed in huge jars, vials of green slime, and quartz crystals. Why on earth does Presto continue to speak like this? Theo asked, joining the others at the counter. He craned his long neck back, trying to make eye contact with the parrot, then held up his hand. This usually worked with the doves he kept in his backyard, but Presto had been trained differently. Maybe she's practicing for Shakespeare in the Park, Ridley said. That'd be neat, said Layla. She patted her shoulder. Presto, come. Presto only shouted out again. Shall Houdini confess next? I can find a dozen flying fake deer. The shopping couple whispered something to each other, then glared at Presto. They headed to the door with a quiet, thank you. The bell clanged, and then they were gone. Layla's face burned. She felt disappointed that she hadn't been able to charm them into staying longer. That bird is so nut. That bird is a nutso, said Ridley. Not like my rabbit. Where is my top hat? Carter chuckled. One day one of us will pull out an actual top hat and say, here it is. Har har, Ridley scowled. Not funny, newbie. Don't make me kick you out of the club so soon. It was only a joke, Theo whispered, slipping the rabbit onto Ridley's lap. Ridley wasn't having it. If we're going to make jokes during Magic Misfit meetings, then they've got to be much funnier, and Presto has to learn to keep her beak shut. Theo raised a chiding eyebrow. Oh, come on, Ridley added. You know I love Olive. Ping! As if from nowhere, a large coin fell out of the air. It bounced twice on the table, rolled on its side in a circle, and fell over. Dad, did you do that? Layla called upstairs, but Mr. Vernon was nowhere to be seen. Ridley picked up the coin and surveyed it. Theo and the others peered over her shoulders. It's letters A through Z, Ollie noted. And then back again, Izzy added, Z through A. It's a cipher, Ridley whispered. A what? Carter asked. A code, a secret way of writing, Ridley answered. See, if I wrote cat using this cipher, it would become XZG, and dog would become WLT. Awesome, Layla said. A shadow appeared outside the window of the shop. More customers, Carter said. Wanting to keep their discovery secret, Ridley dropped the coin into the secret compartment of her wheelchair. The bell chimed as the front door opened again. Layla's heart soared as she imagined that the couple had changed their minds and returned. But a new voice called out instead. Hello? Is anyone here? And that is the end of chapter 4. So, they were having their Magic Misfits meeting and they're trying to learn about codes. So they're trying to learn Morse code, which is a way that they can send, it's kind of like another language using dots and dashes where they can write messages to each other that other people aren't going to be able to read. And then Mr. Vernon said, oh, I've got to go upstairs and look for my vanishing ink, so can you guys watch the store for me? So they hop into the store, and they're talking in the store. Presto the parrot is saying some weird thing about Houdini, and then some customers come in, and the customers leave, and then all of a sudden, ping! A little coin falls from the ceiling. But this isn't a regular coin, like a quarter or a penny, right? This coin has a cipher on it, which kind of like Morse code. It's another type of code. It's a different code, so like a different language, but just another code. And it's got the letters A through Z going one way, and then it goes Z through A going the other way. And so they don't know what it means, and they don't know where it came from, but Ridley hung on to it, put it in her secret compartment of her wheelchair, and then just then, someone walked into the shop again and said, hello, is anyone there? We don't know who it is yet. So maybe we'll meet a new character. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out next time we read chapter 5. So I will see you then. Bye, everybody.